Hi, I'm Thiago. After 6 years in the military, I finally made it back home to face my family and my brother. The drive to my parents' suburban house felt longer than my last deployment. I adjusted my civilian clothes, still not used to the lack of a uniform, and rang the doorbell. My baby boy is home. Mom pulled me into a hug that smelled like her signature lasagna. Behind her, Dad stood with misty eyes. Good to have you back, son. He patted my shoulder awkwardly. The living room looked exactly the same. Family photos everywhere, including plenty of Marco in his police uniform. Noticeably fewer of me in my military gear. Look who finally decided to show his face. Marco emerged from the kitchen, beer in hand. His police badge gleamed on his belt even though he was off duty, always making sure everyone remembered his authority. Hey bro, been a while? 3 years. His handshake was unnecessarily firm. Heard things didn't end so well for you over there. Before I could respond, my sister Vanessa rushed in and threw her arms around me. Ignore him. We've missed you so much. Tell me everything. Let the man breathe, Van. Marco's wife, Sophia, appeared with a glass of wine. She gave me a quick side hug. Welcome home, Thiago. The dinner table conversation started pleasant enough. Dad asked about my plans, Mom insisted I was too thin, and Vanessa showed pictures of her new apartment. So, Marco interrupted, you gonna tell them why you're really back, or should I? The table went quiet. What are you talking about? I kept my voice level. Come on, bro. The dishonorable discharge? The investigation? Marco looked around the table with fake concern. You guys didn't know? Mom's fork clattered against her plate. What is he talking about, Thiago? It's not true, Mom. Then why did your commanding officer call me? Marco smirked. Professional courtesy between law enforcement, you know? That's impossible. My hands clenched under the table. Tell them about the stolen military equipment, the black market deals. Dad stood up. That's enough, Marco. No, he needs to hear this. My own brother, a disgrace to the uniform. You don't know what you're talking about. I struggled to stay calm. Oh, I've got proof. Marco pulled out his phone. Your CO sent me everything. Sophia touched his arm. Maybe now's not the time. When is the time? When he scams Mom and Dad out of their retirement? When he corrupts Vanessa with his lies? I stood up. You need to stop. Marco rose to meet me, then reached for his handcuffs. What are you doing? Vanessa gasped. My job. Marco's eyes never left mine. Thiago Rivera, you're under arrest for fraud, theft of government property, and dishonorable conduct. Are you insane? I backed away as he approached with the cuffs. Honey, this is your brother, Mom cried. Not anymore. Marco grabbed my wrist. He's a criminal, and I'm taking him in. The cold metal clicked around my wrists as Marco forced them behind my back. You have the right to remain silent. This is insane. He just got home. Dad grabbed Marco's shoulder. Step back, civilian. I'm conducting an arrest. Civilian? I'm your father? Dad's face turned red. Marco tightened the cuffs until they bit into my skin. Sorry, Dad. Law comes first. As he paraded me through the front yard, memories flooded back. The high school wrestling match where Marco accidentally dislocated my shoulder right before military recruiters visited. The college recommendation letters that mysteriously never arrived. The girlfriend who suddenly dumped me after Marco had a brotherly chat with her. Always have to be the center of attention, don't you? I muttered as he shoved me toward his squad car. Still bitter I got team captain instead of you? That was 15 years ago, bro. This isn't about high school. This is about you lying to our family. Look who's talking, general material, right? That's what Dad always called you. Our neighbors gathered on their lawns as Marco made a show of the arrest. Mrs. Chen from next door covered her mouth in shock. Bill from across the street shook his head in disappointment. Quite the homecoming parade you've arranged. I nodded toward the gawking neighbors. Nothing but the best for my little brother. At the station, Marco took his sweet time with the booking process. He made sure every officer got a good look at me. My brother, the war hero. Not so heroic now, huh? Why are you doing this? You got everything handed to you. Military scholarship, Dad's respect, Mom's attention. Marco slammed the fingerprint pad against my hand. Meanwhile, I busted my ass in the police academy, made detective in record time, and Dad still hangs your basic training photo front and center. So this is about Dad's approval? You fabricated evidence against me? I didn't fabricate anything. You did this to yourself. An officer approached. Your wife's on the phone, Rivera. Says your parents are threatening to call their lawyer. Tell her I'll call back. Family drama. You've been poisoning them against me for years, haven't you? The realization hit me hard. The missed calls when I was deployed, Mom's weird distance in her letters. Marco smirked. Maybe I mentioned a few concerns about your character, for their protection. You son of a... Careful. Threatening an officer adds another charge. The station door swung open. A tall, stern-faced man in a captain's uniform marched in, flanked by two officers. The room immediately stiffened. Detective Rivera. His voice cut through the station chatter. Marco straightened. Captain Jackson, sir. Just booking a perpetrator. In your civilian clothes, off-duty, processing your own brother? Captain Jackson glanced at the paperwork. Without filing proper documentation? I can explain. Captain Jackson looked at me, then back at the booking sheet. His eyes widened slightly. Release him. Now. But sir, the evidence... Now, detective. Captain Jackson stepped forward, examining me closely. Thiago Rivera? I nodded, confused. To my shock, Captain Jackson snapped to attention and saluted. General, we've been awaiting your orders. The station fell silent. Marco's jaw dropped as Captain Jackson maintained his salute. At ease, Captain. I straightened my posture, military bearing returning instantly. Could we speak privately? Of course, General. Captain Jackson shot Marco a withering look. Detective Rivera, remove those cuffs immediately. Marco fumbled with the keys. This has to be some kind of mistake. The only mistake was you attempting to arrest a superior officer conducting an authorized undercover operation. Captain Jackson's voice could have frozen hell. My office. Now. Once inside the captain's office, Captain Jackson closed the blinds. My apologies for the blown cover, sir. We weren't expecting direct contact for another week. Circumstances changed. My brother accelerated the timeline. Your brother has no idea who you really are, does he? No one in my family does. That was the agreement when I took this assignment. Captain Jackson handed me a secure phone. Your handler's been trying to reach you. I made the call while Marco paced outside the glass door, his face cycling through confusion, anger, and fear. We've got a situation, I told my handler. My cover's been compromised by family entanglements. How bad? Local detective attempted to arrest me on false charges. Happens to be my brother. Interesting. Captain Jackson is trustworthy. He's been helping us track corruption in the department. Your brother Marco is actually on our radar. What for? Evidence tampering, extortion, taking payoffs to lose evidence. The pieces clicked into place. No wonder Marco was so eager to discredit me. He was afraid I'd discover his side business. After ending the call, I stepped out to find Marco attempting to listen at the door. Care to explain why you faked charges against me? I kept my voice level. I don't know what game you're playing, but... Captain Jackson interrupted. Detective Rivera, your brother outranks everyone in this building. Show some respect. This is bullshit. He was discharged. That's what his cover required. Captain Jackson handed Marco a folder. Your brother has been working with federal authorities investigating police corruption across 3 states. The station door opened, and a familiar face walked in. Alex Chen, my childhood best friend, now wearing a federal prosecutor's badge. Tiago, man, I thought we weren't meeting until tomorrow. Alex embraced me, then noticed Marco. Detective Rivera, imagine finding you here. You two know each other? Marco looked between us suspiciously. We've been tracking your activities for months, Detective. Alex placed his briefcase on the desk. The money from the Rodriguez case, the evidence that disappeared in the Thompson trial, the witnesses who suddenly changed their testimony. You can't prove anything. Actually, we can. I pulled out my phone and showed him the screen. Mom and Dad's basement has excellent acoustics. Every conversation we had growing up, I remembered how sound carries through the heating vents. Marco paled. You recorded me. Only after you started throwing accusations. Self-preservation. Alex opened his briefcase. We have enough to bring charges, but General Rivera suggested we gather more evidence before proceeding. I checked my watch. Speaking of which, I need to make a call. Mom and Dad are probably worried sick. What are you planning? Marco asked nervously. Another family dinner, tomorrow night. Everyone will be there, including your captain and some of your colleagues. You can't do this to me. I'm not doing anything to you, Marco. You did this to yourself. Mom outdid herself with the dinner spread. Lasagna, garlic bread, and her famous tiramisu, the works. Dad hovered nervously by the dining table while Vanessa helped set out silverware. So, should we expect handcuffs for dessert this time? Vanessa attempted to lighten the mood. Not unless someone orders them specifically. I winked. adjusting the hidden microphone under my collar. The doorbell rang. Captain Jackson arrived first, followed by Alex and two uniformed officers. "Thank you for allowing us into your home, Mrs. Rivera," Captain Jackson said, handing Mom a bottle of wine. "I'm still not clear on why police officers are joining our family dinner." Mom accepted the bottle with a confused smile. "All will be explained when Marco arrives." 20 minutes later, Marco strolled in with Sophia, looking surprisingly confident. Well, the gang's all here. Captain Jackson, didn't expect to see you off duty." Marco shook hands with his superior, completely misreading the situation. "Oh, I'm very much on duty tonight, Detective." We sat down to eat, making awkward small talk until Dad finally cracked. "Can someone please explain what the hell happened yesterday? My sons were ready to kill each other and now we're having pasta?" I nodded to Alex, who opened his briefcase and pulled out a tablet. "Marco, would you like to tell them, or should we?" "Tell them what?" Marco's fork froze halfway to his mouth. "About the Rodriguez evidence, the witness intimidation, the offshore account." Marco's face hardened. "Whatever my brother told you is a lie." I pressed play on the tablet. Marco's voice filled the room. "Yeah, make the evidence disappear. Usual rate applies." Then another recording. "Tell the witness if she testifies, her immigration status might become a problem." Sophia gasped. "Marco, what is this?" "It's nothing, babe. They're doctoring recordings." "Voice analysis confirms it's you, Detective," Captain Jackson interrupted. "Plus, we have the banking records." Mom covered her mouth, tears forming. "You've been breaking the law? Using your badge to hurt people?" "While accusing me of the exact same things," I added. "Projection much, bro." Marco stood up, knocking over his wine glass. "This is a setup. Thiago has always been jealous of me. That's why I got the military scholarship and you failed the officer's exam twice?" I shook my head. "Your lies catch up eventually, Marco." "Officers, place Detective Rivera under arrest," Captain Jackson ordered. As they cuffed him, Marco's bravado crumbled. "Thiago, please, we're brothers. You can't do this to me. I'm sorry, okay? I was jealous. I messed up. Like you were sorry when you sabotaged my college applications, or when you told Vanessa I stole her birthday money, or when you convinced Mom I was dodging her calls during deployment. I can change. Give me another chance. You've had chances your entire life. You chose to waste them." I turned away as they let him out. "Your brother faces multiple felony charges," Alex explained to my stunned family. "The prosecutor's office will be in touch." After the officers left with Marco, Sophia broke down. "I had no idea. All those unexplained deposits, I thought he was working overtime." Dad placed a hand on my shoulder. "Son, I don't understand. What exactly do you do in the military?" "That's classified. But let's just say I specialize in rooting out corruption." Mom wiped her tears. "Why didn't you tell us?" "I couldn't. The operation required total secrecy, but I never expected it to lead back to Marco." "Will you stay now?" Vanessa asked hopefully. "For a while, I've got some family relationships to rebuild." I squeezed her hand, "And one to permanently close. What would you have done in Thiago's position? Would you have shown mercy to a family member who betrayed you for years? Or would you have pursued justice regardless of blood ties?" The line between family loyalty and personal integrity can be incredibly thin. When someone close to you repeatedly tries to destroy your life, at what point is cutting them off completely justified? If you enjoyed this story of betrayal and justice, hit that like button to help others find it too. Subscribe for more complex family drama stories that make you question where your own boundaries lie. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you forgive Marco, or was Thiago right to walk away?